Good afternoon. Today we will start discussing block 2. Two very important topics that we are going to discuss is the first one is entrepreneurship and how it's impacted by various government policies and schemes. That's what we will discuss today, and tomorrow we will be discussing another very important topic, how entrepreneurship contributes to various economic development of a particular country. So let's start with Unit 4, wherein we will discuss entrepreneurship and government policies, as I told you. After going through this particular unit, you should be able to discuss the role of government policy towards developing and promoting, particularly the MSME sector. You should be able to explain the role of various central government, state government bodies and other autonomous bodies in assisting the implementation of MSME sector. And you should be able to discuss various rules, regulations, procedures relevant for MSME sector. So we have arranged the structure in the following way. We will discuss all this in today's unit. So as a part of the introduction on government policies on entrepreneurship, as all of you are aware, India is gradually on its mission to build a robust entrepreneurship ecosystem to develop MSMEs. They not only play a significant role in providing large-scale employment opportunities, but require less capital than large industries and also help in the growth of non-farm activities as well as industrialization of rural and backward areas. MSMEs ultimately reduce regional imbalances and enhance more equitable distribution of national income. So the MSME sector contributes in the socio-economic development of national income. That's where they play a very important role. MSME sector contributes in the socio-economic development of the country. Realizing it, India opted for a policy of development of the micro, small and medium sector along with a heavy industrial sector. If you see, over the past 5 decades, government policies have been designed to protect the interests of this MSME sector. To facilitate the rapid development of this sector, the government, in pursuance of its policies, has initiated various support measures from time to time, which includes the policy of reservation, revision of investment ceilings, modernization, technological upgradation, marketing assistance, etc. So in this particular unit, we will be discussing, or this particular unit discusses the policy framework for micro, small and medium enterprises, and also describes the national infrastructure that has been developed to facilitate this sector. The term industrial institutional interface refers to a part of economic environment of industry and business consisting of authorities and institutions whose decisions and activities influence activities of various business units. The institutions could be government-owned, statutory, semi-autonomous, or non-profit organizations and associations. So the authorities are generally governmental and in a sense wield government policy powers granted to them in specific fields or activities. So the institutional interface that we describe here, it is related to micro, small and medium sector of industry and business in India. A business or industrial unit, enterprise in short, interacts with the institutional interface essentially at three stages of its development. First, during its inception, that is establishment of an enterprise. Second, day-to-day operations, which would mean day-to-day management. And third, during expansion or diversification. So in this unit, our emphasis will be on the institutional interface at the inception stage, how the institutions interface with the entrepreneurs. To formulate the proposition, the question we are trying to answer is, how do policies and activities of the institutions provide assistance, resources, and technical advice to an entrepreneur whose aim is to set up a micro, small, and medium enterprise? The term MSME or the term micro, small, and medium enterprise covers a range of topics consisting of micro, small, and medium units, small businesses, and service establishments. They are referred to as MSMEs, as we all know. So, from the announcement of the first industrial policy resolution (IPR), step-by-step approach are followed and various policies were implemented during last 5 decades. If you take a look at the evolution of the industrial policy resolutions, first came the IPR in 1948, which was aimed at post-independent national reconstruction through industrialization. It envisaged the importance of cottage and small enterprises for employment creation and utilization of local resources and skills. The main thrust is small-scale sector. The main thrust is in the small-scale sector, which was centered around protection. Then came in 1956, the IPR provided a clear, emphatic policy and incentive support to small-scale and cottage industries. Its aim was at protection plus development of small industrial sector. Then came the IPRs in 1977 by the establishment of DICs, focusing on regional growth of industries and utilization of local resources and skill. You must be aware of IDBI and KVIB, which were established, and small scale sector was given the top priority. This policy focused on promotion. Thus, from protection in 1948, we moved on to development plus promotion became its focus. The next IPR came in 1980. The thrust areas were industrial infrastructure, higher productivity, promotion of agro-based industries, consumer protection, and quality control. For generation of wage employment and development of entrepreneurial spirit among people, small-scale sector was again treated most important. Then came the IPR in 1990, a policy of economic liberalization and introduction of simple procedures, formalities, rules, and regulations were brought in. More emphasis was given to women and youth, which were given under entrepreneurship. SIDBI was established to assist entrepreneurs in the small scale sector. The Industrial Policy Statement of 1991 was an important IPR because it contained a special thrust on the promotion and strengthening of the small, tiny and village industries. The investment limit for tiny industries was raised from 25 lakhs. In addition, local conditions were withdrawn. equity participation by other industrial undertakings was permitted up to a limit of 24% of the shareholdings in SSIs. This was done with a view to boost the ancillarization and strengthening of the capital base of the SSI units. Steps were taken to include services in the SSI sector. A new scheme of integrated infrastructural development for SSIs was brought into being with the participation of state governments and financial institutions. A proactive role for non-government organization and industry or trade association was also mooted in this policy statement. Besides the above measures, steps were initiated to bring about a substantial deregulation and simplification of roles and procedures. To protect the interests of the SSIs, to improve their viability, measures were taken by the government from time to time, which included reservation of items to be manufactured exclusively by this sector, revision of investment links in the definition, modernization, technology upgradation, and market assistance. However, there was no regulation or restriction on marketing the reserved items by large industries. So this formed the framework for the MSMEs, basically. So as we have already mentioned, MSMEs with a view to provide were set up to provide more focused attention on the development of SSI. The government of India created a new Ministry of Small Scale Industry and Agro and Rural Industries in October 1999. Immediately after the formation of the ministry, a policy package for small scale and village industries were announced to give a facelift to this sector in the new millennium. Under globalization and the advent of ICTs, information and communication technologies, there was demand from different quarters to club micro, small and medium enterprises for better performance. Consequently, the government passed the MSMED, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act in 2006. Then on 9th May 2007, subsequent to the amendment of the Government of India Allocation of Business Rules in 1961, the Ministry of Small Scale Industries and the Ministry of Agro and Rural Industries were merged to form the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Thus, the SSIs are included under the Ministry of MSME. In 2014, a new Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship was set up to achieve the vision of Skilled India. So, in accordance with the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Act in 2006, the enterprises were classified into two major divisions. One was the manufacturing enterprises, which engaged in the manufacturing or production of goods in any industry. The second was the service enterprises, which were engaged in providing or rendering services. After 14 years since the MSME Development Act came into existence in 2006, a revision in MSME definition was announced in the Atmanirbhar Bharat package in 13th May 2020. Distinction between manufacturing and service MSMEs has been removed. Earlier, the limits of investment and turnover for these two were different. Old limits, you can take a look into the table. These were the old limits. The upper limit as per the new definition is shown here, along with the investments and the turnovers. So, as per the MSME's 2021-22 annual report, Ministry of MSME runs a number of schemes which we will discuss in today's discussion, which were targeted at providing credit and financial assistance, skill development training, infrastructure development, marketing assistance, technology and quality upgradation, and other services for the MSMEs across the country. Now, we will start discussing the various schemes and the new schemes that have been implemented by the government. One of the most important schemes that is helping the MSME sector and the entrepreneurs is the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, which in other terms is abbreviated as PMEGP. Now, what is the objective of this particular scheme or program? The scheme basically aims to provide financial assistance to set up self-employment ventures and generate sustainable employment opportunities in rural as well as urban areas, and to generate sustainable and continuous employment opportunities for rural and unemployed youth, as well as prospective traditional artisans, and thereby halt occupational migration. Now, what are the key benefits of this particular program or scheme? One of the particular key benefit is it provides credit-linked subsidies. It's a credit-linked subsidy program for setting up a micro enterprise in the non-farm sector. And the margin money subsidy ranges from a range of 15% to 35% of the project cost for projects up to rupees 50 lakh in manufacturing sector and rupees 20 lakh in the service sector. So for beneficiaries belonging to special categories such as SC and ST, women, minorities, ex-servicemen, transgenders, aspirational districts, NERs, the margin money subsidy is 35% in rural areas and 25% in urban areas. Now, who are the stakeholders who benefit out of these programs, or the scheme is applicable for which stakeholders? Any individual who is above 18 years of age can apply for this particular scheme to be a beneficiary of this scheme. Next comes the CGTMSE, that is the Credit Guarantee Scheme for Micro and Small Enterprise. And the objective of this particular scheme or program is to encourage first generation entrepreneurs to venture into self-employment opportunities by facilitating credit guarantee support for collateral-free, third-party, guarantee-free loans to the micro and small enterprises, especially in the absence of collateral. And what are the key benefits? Credit guarantee for loans to up to 5 crores without collateral and third-party guarantee. Guarantee coverage ranges from 85% to 75%, 85% in micro enterprise up to rupees 5 lakhs and 75% for others. Now, 50% coverage is also given for retail activity. The scheme is applicable for micro and small enterprises, as I have already told you while discussing the program initially. Next comes the Aspire program or the scheme. It's a scheme for promotion of innovation, rural industries and entrepreneurship. And the objective of this particular scheme is to set up a network of livelihood business incubators or LBIs, predominantly in the rural and undeserved areas, to promote innovation and accelerate entrepreneurship for the following, which I would like to present. The first one is to generate employment opportunities by facilitating formal, scalable micro enterprise creation in the agro-rural sector. That is number one. Number two, skill, upskill and reskill unemployed, self-employed or wage earners in new technologies in the agro-rural sector, or to provide skilled human capital to nearby industrial clusters and promote innovations for strengthening the competitiveness in the MSME sector. What are the key benefits of this particular scheme or program? The key benefits are that the entrepreneurs or the enterprise gets a maximum of 1 crore rupees to uh, the government agencies, and a maximum of 75 lakh rupees to private agencies for procuring plant and machinery. Maximum of 1 crore rupees is given to government and private agencies as operational expenditure, support towards manpower cost, running incubation and skill development programs, etc. The scheme is applicable for any agency, institution of Government of India, state government, or existing training centers under ministries or departments of Government of India or state government, industry associations, academic institutions. Any not-for-profit private institutions with experience in successfully executing incubation and or skill development programs may be eligible to set up an LBI. The next program or scheme for implementation of MSMEs or for the entrepreneurs is the ESDP scheme, or the Entrepreneurship and Skill Development Program scheme. The objective of this scheme is to promote new enterprises, capacity building of existing MSMEs, and inculcating entrepreneurial culture in the country. Now, the key benefits are to widen the base of entrepreneurship by development, achievement, motivation, and entrepreneurial skills to the different sections of the society. The scheme is applicable for aspiring and existing entrepreneurs. The next scheme is the Spurti scheme, or the scheme for of fund for regeneration of traditional industries. The objective of the scheme are to organize traditional industries and artisans into clusters to make them competitive and provide support for the long-term sustainability, sustained employment to enhance marketability of products of such clusters. Another objective is to equip traditional artisans of the associated clusters with improved skills to make provision for common facilities and improve tools and equipment for artisans. The next objective of this particular program is to strengthen the cluster of governance systems with the active participation of the stakeholders and to build up innovative products, improved technologies, advanced processes, market intelligence, and new models of public-private partnership. The next scheme is called as the Modified Market Development Assistance Scheme, or MMDA. It's a scheme for financial assistance to Khadi institutions. The objective of this scheme is to provide a flexible, growth stimulating and artisan oriented market development assistance in place of the system of rebate. So this particular scheme was introduced by the government on 1st April 2010. Another objective of this program or scheme is the financial assistance being extended currently under MMDA at the rate 30% to artisans like spinners and weavers engaged in production of khadi, and at the rate of 10% to the other workers engaged in khadi production will continue to be paid. Now, these were some of the earlier schemes which are running and have been implemented successfully, which is providing benefits to the beneficiaries. All these programs that we have discussed, starting from PMEGP to CGTMSE to Aspire to ESDP to Spurti and MMDA, are some of the important schemes or programs by the government for the MMSE for the entrepreneurs. The next is the new set of schemes that have been designed and being implemented for the beneficiaries. The first one is the PM Vishwakarma, which enables artisans and craftspeople to build enterprises. The objective is well known. This particular scheme helps to enable or seeks to enable the recognition of artisans and craftspeople as Vishwakarma, making them eligible to avail all the benefits under the scheme, to provide skill upgradation, to hone the skills and make relevant and suitable training opportunities available to them, to provide support for better and modern tools to enhance their capability, productivity, and quality of products and services. This is to provide the beneficiaries easy access easy access to collateral-free credit and to reduce the cost of credit by providing investor subvention. This scheme also aims to provide incentives for digital transactions to encourage digital empowerment of Vishwakarmas. And finally, to provide a platform for brand promotion and market linkages to help them access new opportunities for growth. PM Vishwakarma certificates and IDs are provided. The key benefits of this program or scheme is that everyone gets a PM Vishwakarma certificate or an ID card. You get training for skill upgradation and stipend up to rupees 500 per day. A toolkit up to rupees 15,000 is provided to the artisan and the craftspeople. Collateral-free loans up to rupees 3 lakh for Vishwakarma brothers and sisters are provided. Incentive for digital transactions you have. You also have marketing assistance like quality certification, branding, and advertisement for products. The persons who can apply for this program or scheme are 18 types of traditional artisans and craftspeople who can get benefited out of these programs and schemes. You see a list of artisan and craftspeople who benefit out of this scheme. Now, coming to discussions about the scheme, MSME Champion Scheme. This is a particular scheme by the Ministry of MSME, which has been implemented, and it has been implementing the credit-linked capital subsidy and technology upgradation scheme for promoting competitiveness amongst micro, small, and medium MSMEs by the way of wastage reduction through lean manufacturing, support for design improvement, building awareness of intellectual property rights, zero defect, zero effect scheme, digitally empowerment of MSME through digital MSME, and to promote and support untapped creativity of individuals and to promote adoption of latest technologies in manufacturing, as well as knowledge-based innovation MSMEs through incubation across India. Now, the MSME Champion Scheme has been formulated through the Standing Finance Committee or the SFC by merging all 6 components of erstwhile Technology Upgradation Scheme, TUS, for a period of 5 years. It is a holistic approach to unify, synergize, and converge various schemes and interventions with a single purpose. The end objective is to pick up clusters and enterprises and modernize their processes, reduce wastages, sharpen business competitiveness, and facilitate the national and global reach and excellence. There are 3 components under the new MSME Champion Scheme. The details are, the first one is the MSME Sustainable ZDD. It's for the ZDD. Next is the MSME Innovation for incubation and IPR design. Next, you have the MSME Competitive for lean manufacturing. And next comes the digital MSME, which is yet to be launched. The digital MSME is yet to be launched. Next comes the RAMP, or the Rising and Accelerating MSME Performance. RAMP is basically a World Bank supported central sector scheme aimed at improving access of MSMEs to market, finance, and technology upgradation by enhancing the outreach of existing MSME schemes by the Ministry of MSME. The program also aims at strengthening institutions of the central and state level and enhancing central-state collaborations. Now, the objective of this particular scheme is accelerating center-state collaboration in MSME promotion and development, enhancing effectiveness of existing Ministry of MSME schemes for technology upgradation, strengthening receivable financing market for MSMEs. It also has the objective of enhancing effectiveness of credit guarantee trusts for micro and small enterprises and promoting guarantee for greening initiatives of MSMEs and women-owned MSMEs. It also has the objective to reduce incidence of delayed payments to MSMEs. Next comes the key benefits of this particular program or scheme. The RAMP scheme would enhance the performance of MSMEs by promoting technology upgradation, innovation, digitization, market access, credit, green initiatives, etc. through active participation of the state governments. Which beneficiaries it targets? Now, the RAMP scheme envisages to benefit more than 5.5 lakh MSMEs during the program period from 2022-23 to 2026-27. The program implementation will be through the state agencies. Now, the scheme is applicable for individual MSMEs through state government or agencies. Now, government assistance to small industries and small business units. Keeping in view the contribution of small business to employment generation, balanced regional development of the country, and promotion of exports, the government of India's policies thrust has been on establishing, promoting, developing the small business sector, particularly the rural industries and the cottage and village industries in the backward areas. Now, governments both at the central and state level have been actively participating in promoting self-employment opportunities in rural areas by providing assistance in respect of infrastructure, finance, technology, training, raw materials, and marketing. The various policies and schemes of government assistance for the development of rural industries insist on the utilization of local resources and raw materials and locally available manpower. These are translated into action through various agencies, departments, corporations, etc., all coming under the purview of the industries department. All this primarily concerned with the promotion of small and rural industries. Now, the administrative and institutional setup, government policy resolutions and programs based on the same need a proper administrative and institutional setup. Right from the time of IPR 1948, this has engaged the mind of government, and all governments have tried to make the administrative setup more effective and easier to interact. The government has set up a statutory national board for micro, small and medium enterprises so as to bring together all the stakeholders as the representative of different subsectors of MSMEs, policymakers, bankers, trade union together to move towards cohesive development of the sector and ultimately to make the sector more competitive and self-reliant. Now, keeping some of the support measures and programs meant for the promotion of small and rural industries, two aspects will be discussed. The first one is institutional support. We will take a look at the institutional support. Institutional support is provided by NABARD, which is the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Likewise, NABARD, you also have the Rural Small Business Development Center, or the RSBDC. You also have the National Small Industries Corporation. You have the National Small Industries Corporation. Apart from that, you have SIDBI, as I have mentioned earlier also. This is nothing but the Small Industries Development Bank of India. So, apart from the institutional support, you also have the incentives that are being provided by the government to the enterprises or the entrepreneurs. So apart from institutional setup support, you also have the incentives by the government to the small industries and small business units. Now let us discuss fully what are these assistance that are being provided to small industries and small business units. The first one, as I had started to discuss, is the NABARD. It was set up in 1982 to promote integrated rural development. Since then, it has been adopting a multi-pronged, multi-purpose strategy for the promotion of rural business enterprises in the country. Apart from agriculture, it supports small industries, cottage and village industries, and rural artisans using credit and non-credit approaches. It offers counseling and consulting services and organizes training and development programs for rural entrepreneurs. You also have the Rural Small Business Development Centers. It is the first of its kind, set up by the World Association for Small and Medium Enterprises, and is sponsored by NABARD. It works for the benefit of socially and economically disadvantaged individuals and groups. It aims at providing management and technical support to current and prospective micro and small entrepreneurs in rural areas. Since its inception, RSBDC has organized several programs on rural entrepreneurship, skill upgradation, workshops, mobile clinics, and trainers training programs, awareness and counseling camps in various villages across the country. Through these programs, it covers a large number of rural and unemployed youth and women in several trades, which includes food processing, soft toys making, ready-made garments, candle making, incense stick making, two-wheeler repairing and servicing, vermi composting, and non-conventional building materials. You also have the institutional support from the National Small Industries Corporation, which was set up in 1955 to promote, aid, and foster the growth of small business units in the country. This focuses on the commercial aspects of these functions. To supply indigenous and imported machines on easy hire purchase terms, to procure, supply, and distribute indigenous and imported raw materials. Apart from that, to export the products of small business units and develop export worthiness, mentoring and advisory services, serve as technology business incubators, creating awareness on technological upgradation, developing software technology parks and technology transfer centers. A new scheme of performance and credit rating of small businesses is implemented through the National Small Industries Corporation. And with basically two objectives. The first one is to sensitize the small industries about the need for credit rating, and second is to encourage the small business units to maintain good financial track record. This is to ensure that they score higher rating for their credit requirements as and when they approach the financial institutions for their working capital and investment requirements. SIDBI provides institutional support. Small Industries Development Bank of India, the implementation of the bank's MSME financing program are executed through the following interventions. Set up as an apex bank to provide direct or indirect financial assistance under different schemes to meet credit needs of small business organizations and to coordinate the functions of other institutions in similar activities. SIDBI, what are the business initiatives and overall operations of this particular institutional support? Now, Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, which was established under an Act of Parliament in 1990, SIDBI is the principal financial institution engaged in promoting, financing and developing of the micro, small and medium enterprises sector and coordinating the functions of various institutions engaged in similar activities. If we take a look at SIDBI, implementation of the bank's MSME financing program are executed through these interventions, these 6 interventions. First is the indirect lending. Second is the direct lending. The third is micro lending or prayas. The fourth is fund of funds. Fifth is infrastructure development. And sixth is the green financing. SIDBI provides indirect lending. What does that mean? That means financial assistance is extended to the banks, NBFCs, new age fintechs, SFBs and MFIs, which creates a multiplier effect and increases the flow to credit to MSMEs, including undeserved and unserved MSMEs. Direct lending provides financial assistance to executed to effectively and efficiently serve the partnerships, entrepreneurs at the bottom of the pyramid, especially women and poor. Fund of funds, equity assistance is provided by SIDBI to startups to boost the entrepreneurial spirit. Equity support is extended to startups through alternate investment funds or AIFs, and the fund of funds being operated by SIDBI on behalf of the government. Infrastructure development financing is done by SIDBI to promote cluster development. SIDBI, with a corpus of rupees 6,990 crore, has been set up to provide low-cost funding to state government for infrastructure development and MSME clusters. Green financing, SIDBI has a series of new initiatives that are being taken for extending assistance to projects in the field of clean energy, climate change, electrical vehicle, energy efficiency, etc. under the green financing scheme of the SIDBI. SIDBI also has a promotional and development role. All of the promotional and developmental initiatives of SIDBI have been built around Mission Swavalamban, an overarching framework for fostering an entrepreneurial culture and assisting several livelihood and entrepreneurship. If you take a look at the coordination among stakeholders, the bank is the nodal agency for implementing MSME-oriented schemes promoted by the government. SIDBI has been chosen as the trusted agency by the government of India for channelizing liquidity, support and economic packages to the pandemic hit MSME sector. Bank also undertakes data-based structural interventions to address information asymmetry in the MSME sector. Bank, the SIDBI partners with stakeholders such as state governments, financial intermediaries, NGOs, etc. for holistic development of the MSME sector. SIDBI has been focusing on enabling digital lending in order to improve access to credit to MSMEs by leveraging technology. Now, how is the capital raising done for enterprises? An ITP listed company must comply following if it wants to raise its capital. How? Number one, before initiating listing of the on the platform, it should not make any initial public offer. That is number one requirement. Number two, private placement or rights issues are sources which it can raise. Third is such companies which raise funds through private placement are required to obtain in principle approval of the required stock exchange prior to allotment and should also obtain stakeholders' approval. They should complete allotment within 2 months of such approval, and disclosures need to be made in explanatory statement as notice to the shareholders. Fourth, the same shareholders must be taken into confidence before a company decides to raise funds through private placements. Other agencies or government organizations which provide institutional setups to the MSMEs. One is the NCUS, or the National Commission for Enterprises in the Unorganized Sector, the RWED, or the Rural and Women Entrepreneurship Development, the WASME, World Association for Small and Medium Enterprises, Spurti, scheme for fund for regeneration of traditional industries, and finally the district industries centers. So, how it has been in operation, the industrial policy. An entrepreneur who wishes to set up a small unit of his or her own way, however, like to know how the industrial policy is actually implemented. In other words, how will his unit, entrepreneur's unit, come under the purview of industrial policy at different stages? For this, each one should first lay bare the entrepreneurial process. Each one has to understand the entrepreneurial process and then suggest a tentative framework for establishing linkage between the following areas. One is information. The second one is other institutions, apart from the cottage industries. The other institutions, the markets for the products. So what are these three? The first one is an enterprise. As I told you, information is important for enterprises. An enterprise can see from the point of view of an entrepreneur or the institution of the interface. Next is information on self-employment based opportunities should be provided. In addition to many of the above that has been shown in the slide, which have been published from time to time, a list of bankable schemes for MSME is also there. Now, the objective is providing such list is that very often people desirous of taking up self-employment as a positive career alternative lacks business information on what alternatives are actually available. Taking the length and breadth of the country, its vast rural and backward areas, lack of relevant information would seem to be a basic lacuna. One of the activities of the interface institution, therefore, is collecting and disseminating information. So, collecting and disseminating information is important. Next is the other institutions which come into being to support. The major objective of government policy with regard to the small scale sector, both small scale industry or other small businesses, has been employment. The policy and variety of measures of central as well as state governments aim at promoting these enterprises. You should have noted the role played by the infrastructure institutions in handing out the information. This may be regarded as the starting point. It would enable an individual to choose from amongst alternatives. Market for products. Manufacturing in small units face the difficulty of marketing their products mainly because of two reasons. First, in the first place, there are several lines in which products of large and small units have to compete with each other in the market. In such situations, the latter always suffers, and in order to help such units in elected product lines, in selected product lines, special purchase programs have been announced by the government. These programs extend subsidy to SSI products so that they can compete with some strength. Such lists should be available with the Director of Industry for state, the state small industry corporation, and the district industry centers. In some states, a list of state-based product is also available. Now, markets for the product. The recent emphasis of policy is to encourage both small-scale industry and small business, which provides self-employment opportunities in the first place. Small businesses have limited requirement of plant, machinery, and tools, and most of the financial requirements are met by nationalized commercial banks. Most of the banks have announced liberalized loan schemes, entrepreneur schemes, equity fund scheme, and composite loan scheme for artisan-based village and cottage industries. Now, incentives have been provided by government to small industries and small business units. Now, let us discuss about these incentives. Special emphasis on the industrial development of backward, tribal, and hilly areas has been the concern of the government of India, expressed in all 5-year plans and industrial policy statements. Realizing the backward areas development is a long-term process. Several committees were appointed to identify the criteria for identifying backward areas and also to suggest schemes to take up the Herculean task of balanced regional development. The implementation of integrated rural development program is one such attempt made by the government to develop backward areas. Now, what are the common incentives offered by the government to the small industries and small business units? One is land, second is power, third is water, fourth is sale tax, and fifth is raw materials. Apart from all this, government also provide finance, industrial, and estates and tax holidays. Now, every state offers developed plots for setting up industries. The terms and conditions may vary. Power is supplied at a concessional rate of 50%, while some states exempt such units from payment in the initial years. Water is supplied on a no profit, no loss basis, or with 50% concession or exemption from water charges for a period of 5 years. Sales tax in all union territories, industry are exempted from sales tax, while some states extend exemption for 5 years. Octroi, most states have abolished octroi. Raw materials, units located in backward areas get preferential treatment in the matter of allotment of scarce raw materials like cement, iron, and steel. So, finance is also provided as subsidy for building capital assets. Loans are also offered at concessional rates. So, to sum up, it may be stated that small business sector in India is getting the support of government through various institutions in different forms or for different purposes. Despite special attention being given to backward areas, it is observed that imbalances in development are still there. There is a need to develop infrastructure facilities in these areas, as no amount of subsidies or concessions can overcome the natural handicaps caused by a lack of such facilities. So today we discussed the topic of entrepreneurship and government policies, how the various government policies or schemes support entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. Thank you. We will discuss about the topic of entrepreneurship and economic development in tomorrow's session. Thank you once again.